I've been wanting to make a video like this for quite a while. I just didn't know how to articulate what I wanted to say exactly. But with the new Mario Galaxy movie coming out in a little under 2 weeks, I think it's a good as time as any to bite the bullet and just get all of my weird, overly analytical thoughts out. I think the Mario franchise has been in like a really weird place for a long time, like longer than people want to admit. It's in a weird era. I'll call it the weird era. And it always has sort of had eras. Especially people talk about the 2010s being kind of a dark age for like Mario and Nintendo. There was kind of a period between like 2009 or 10 and then 2017 where everything was kind of safe and derivative. And everyone talks about that. Everyone knows that. When Mario Odyssey came out and the Switch launched, I think people kind of assumed that like that was just automatically over and that like every game was going to be great and new. It's been almost 9 years now, and Odyssey is still the most recent 3D Mario game. It's still the second most recent mainline game in general. It kind of feels like a whole other era has like already run its course and nothing has really happened since Odyssey. Like the series hasn't really changed, and it almost just kind of stagnated in a different way where instead of getting a lot of games that all feel samey, we've just kind of gotten like a lot of things that just kind of feel like footnotes and don't really go anywhere. And it's not that a game has to like release and then be this jumping off point for a bunch of other stuff. You know, a game can be its own thing, but usually Mario doesn't go that way. It really feels like we're all still kind of waiting for what's next, you know? What's next after Mario Odyssey? But it's been 9 years since Mario Odyssey. It's longer than we waited in that quote unquote dark age where that, you know, felt like it went on forever and ever. But it really didn't. It's really tough to even see like what the current status quo is with the franchise. You know, I'm not going to be one of those people that claims that Nintendo doesn't care about Mario. They forgot about him. Like, obviously they didn't forget about their mascot, but it's more just become unclear what their agenda is with him. It's not that they're like, you know, holding back creatively right now, I don't think, but it's been stagnating in a really weird way. It's hard to see what is going to happen going forward, like where they're going to take the franchise. If anything, it feels like the movies have kind of become the central focus more than the games. Like 2023, when the first movie came out, was kind of the last time that it felt like there was this sort of brand cohesion, and I don't think anything has really happened since then. You know, the movie came out and everyone saw the movie, and that was the last time that I heard normal people who didn't care about Mario talking about Mario. And you know, when Mario Wonder was announced a little bit after, like a couple months after the movie came out, it seemed like there were a lot more people talking about it because everyone had just seen the movie. And honestly, I think at the time, people were just glad that the next Mario game wasn't a movie tie-in, which, you know, I'm glad that they didn't do that. They would never do that. But, you know, if anything, it seems like Mario Wonder has become more of this jumping off point for other things. The new Mario Kart, I think, kind of took some design cues from it in terms of the way that game redesigned some of the characters, how both of those games redesigned a lot of the main cast. The new Mario Tennis, which I didn't play, had some Mario Wonder elements of it, and then this DLC coming out. And it's just strange because it seems like that's the case. Like, that would be my only guess, is that like Mario Wonder is the next big thing. But it kind of makes me wonder, like, where was this treatment for Mario Odyssey in the Switch generation? You know, off the top of my head, there was like a Mario, there was like the Captain Toad game had some stuff, and there's a Mario Golf game. It's like, that's all that stuff really felt like afterthoughts. You know, there was no DLC for Mario Odyssey, there was no sequel, and I don't feel like with Mario Wonder, there's like, I don't see enough in that game to kind of warrant that, at least compared to Odyssey. So it makes me wonder what Nintendo's plan is there, especially because like 3D Mario kind of is the mainline stuff. I know 2D Mario is considered a part of the mainline, but in terms of how the games usually get treated, it's always the 3D games that are like the big exciting new releases, and then the 2D ones are like, you know, off to the side. You know, like back in 2021, we got a 3D World re-release on Switch with Bowser's Fury, and everyone and their mother was like, this is what the next 3D Mario game is going to be. Like, this is them kind of hinting at that, or testing the waters. And if that was a testing the waters thing, like, why haven't we seen anything with that, you know? Why would they test the waters so long ago and then not do anything with it? I at this point, I kind of doubt that I almost kind of doubt that the next 3D Mario game is going to be at all reminiscent of that, because like everyone has already forgotten about that. It really just feels like for 8 or 9 years now, they've kind of just been experimenting, especially if you ignore the movies, because again, the movies do kind of feel like the central focus right now, even more than the games. You know, if you take a look at like the spin-offs that have come out in the last decade or so, there's really like no cohesion between them the way there used to be. I think in 1 year we got 3 different Mario RPGs, whether those were remakes or a new game, and they didn't really have anything to do with anything else. And I know they don't have to be. Again, you can just put out a game and it can be a one and done. But with Mario, they usually don't do that. I mean, if you look at the old RPGs and the old spin-offs, like, you could always intertwine them with the mainline games. They were always kind of looking at the mainline games as a reference point. Like, Mario and Luigi Brothership was a game that left embarrassingly little impact and was frankly very disappointing. And it wasn't even a bad game, but you know, with such a long-awaited return for a franchise like that, you would kind of expect it to do more. And I've felt the same way about a lot of the stuff that's come out. You know, Paper Mario, The Origami King, which is crazy that was like 5 or 6 years ago already. That game, of course, pretty much did nothing to, you know, improve on that series or move it forward in any way. Name any of the sports games that have come out. There was a complete lack of Mario Kart, a complete lack of mainline games for the most part, and it just makes you wonder what they're thinking at Nintendo. And I don't want this argument to be like, the series has gone bad, or I'm mad because the games don't have enough fan service in them. Like, I don't care necessarily about that, but it's just interesting to look at like what they're doing right now and kind of try to guess what their thought process has been, because it really is hard to tell. I do really hope that by the end of this year, maybe it'll be more clear. You know, 2023 was kind of another turning point year in a sense, where we got a movie and we got a new game, and it kind of seemed like things were changing, and they kind of did and they kind of didn't. I wonder if by the end of this year, things will finally make sense. I think there's a lot of people who've kind of, you know, thrown around the idea of like a third Mario Galaxy game, which I do not see happening. And if that did happen, I would be even more confused. I would certainly be looking forward to it, but kind of backtracking in that way, going back to, you know, a game from almost 20 years ago and making another sequel to it would be unprecedented in a new way. You know, I throw around that word a lot, but that would truly be very strange. And so I almost wouldn't put it past them, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think that's almost a little bit too strange. Or maybe not strange enough for Nintendo. So if by the end of this year we learn about, you know, the new 3D Mario and it's Bowser's Fury 2.0, and it's the exact thing that literally everyone has kind of just assumed is going to happen, then I will have been kind of wrong, I guess. And it will all make sense. And I guess the assumption will just be that Nintendo just took a really long time to make this game, which they have been doing that. They have been taking a long time, which I understand. I almost just want to believe that that's not going to happen. I really do think that we will know by the end of this year what the next thing will be. I would be shocked. I would be shocked if they didn't release a new game, or at least announce a new game, you know, in the same time frame as their big new movie, which they're, you know, arguably promoting even harder than the first one. But we will see. I will want to make a follow-up video to this once the movie is out, or at least just a review. In the off chance that I like truly don't have anything to say about it, then I'll still just kind of make a quick review, but I really doubt that. I really doubt that I'm not going to have anything to say about it. Super Mario Titans looks real, and it looks freaking awesome, and I'm so gosh darn excited, and God bless you, Shigeru Miyamoto.